Welcome to our prospective students tuning in today. Learning about the real estate development activity is a very exciting process that explores many aspects of this professional activity. You'll find it ranging from the functional design, the aesthetics of a proposed project, through the understanding of the urban planning context, the construction process, the legal challenges, social and community concerns, and so on, right through to the financial feasibility and optimal investment returns of the project. In our program, you learn about these things from experienced and exemplary people. These are people who are actively working in these fields at the most advanced level in New York City. Now, I've arrived at this role as director of the MESRED program after pulling together these core areas of learning myself through the combination of an architecture and engineering study with Harvard MBA. This has enabled me to then work for approximately 20 years in the industry, including Wall Street, doing the finance and investment, financial restructurings, direct and partnered investments, portfolio management, debt securities, REITs, all the different vehicles of real estate investing. And also running development projects, including urban mixed use and student housing. I'm now adding to this the exploration of technology for real estate, because this is going to be a very important part of your learning and the curriculum of the MESRED program. Today, I'd like to introduce you to one of our excellent current students. He's actually the class president, Patrick Wallace, and also our associate director for your professional support and interests, Rebecca Polomita. They're joining us today on this webinar. So let me just pass over to Patrick and see what he would tell you.
Thank you, Professor. To give you a quick background of myself and how I came to Columbia and through my decision process to come here. I originally started off a couple years ago on CBRE's National Investment Team in Canada. There I was working on a lot of the underwriting of a lot of mixed use for office, industrial, and retail. And it provided me the foundation of what real estate was. I had the opportunity in 2015 to come down and meet with Professor Darrington and the rest of the gang and kind of feel out what was really going on in the program, sit through the classes, see what was being taught, and how I can draw parallels to what I was learning in the industry. What I took from that is there was a few things I wanted to sharpen my tools in, go back to work for a couple more years, and really try and build off of what I can see myself doing in the future. In 2018, I decided to apply. I felt like I was ready, I was primed to come to the program. I looked at a numerous amount of other programs, but for me, New York was the #1 choice. It was the mecca of real estate. A lot of new opportunities come here first, and it was something that, as a Canadian and an international student, it was something very intriguing to me. Upon arriving, after doing my due diligence, the interesting piece that within this program, it's one of the largest ones in terms of the MESRED programs. It gave me a wide array, even to date, from about 7 months from starting, of not only just the finance aspect of it, but also the architecture and urban planning sides of it. In working and starting and doing assignments with individuals, it was key for me to not only understand the finance side of it, but also see how the infrastructure side of it and understanding how architects really work. And it was something that I really wanted to look forward to. I would say that to who's watching right now is really do the due diligence and look at what you're doing today and what you want to build off of. Some of my best friends in the program, as I said, come from a wide array of industries. And in terms of the finance aspect, some of them that are still good friends of mine didn't have that background to it, but I can say that after only 7 months of being in the program, just by talking to them, their level and understanding of the real estate has just farly exceeded what expectations were. And in talking about what the program really is and why it kind of differentiates itself is working on assignments, but not only the people itself. We've had a lot of opportunities to work on and go away and see other schools and really get their understanding, but we've had the opportunity to go to Boston as an entire group this year, which was absolutely fantastic. It gave us a chance to meet with not only Columbia students and mingle with them, but to meet with the likes of the Harvard program, the MIT program, and really start to see what they're working on and what we're trying to do here. And I would say to some of the questions that were raised here is how active is the school's alumni program? I would say very active. Great opportunity not only to just send a quick email, get an understanding of what they're doing, but they're very responsive, very quick to getting back to you. So that was something that was really, really important to me. And that was one of the major decisions why I came here, is because people spoke so highly of the program. Other things is how easy is it to choose your electives in the program? I'd say very easy. There's 3 semesters in the program. I would say that from experience, the first semester is really getting an understanding of the real estate investments and finance, and also the development side and understanding the construction side. But then once you get into the second semester where we are right now, you get the opportunity to kind of differentiate yourself or diversify what you really want to look into. So some of my friends take more like the RFP classes. They take some design by development classes, or you could take capital markets and debt structure. You can take private equity. So there's a lot of great availability to you, and there's a big range on what you're truly interested in. Other questions that I'll talk about is what is a day in the life of a Mesred student look like? I would say that we're here early, we're here late, we're always working together, and one of my favorite things to say not only to the students but to alumni and people that are prospective students is you're a student for a second but alumni for life. And one of the most great things about this program is we were here for maybe 3 weeks, and I felt like I made some of my best friends in life, and it's something that I really truly cherish. And another question that I'll just finish off with is how integrated is this program with other programs alike? So we try and keep, we're very connected with the MBA school. We do some mixers with them and try and understand them. But if it's something that you guys are looking for in terms of the generalistic of real estate itself opposed to general business, I would say if you have the bug for real estate, this is the program for you. You will learn every facet of the industry. You'll really get in the nitty-gritty. You'll get in the weeds. And for me, even coming from the underwriting background, I would say that I thought I knew a lot. I came in here, but it really, really humbles you in the sense that you get to learn from so many different people and hear all these different perspectives. I would say the last thing I would just counter that with is students, when we come in, we're used to our day-to-day job. It's repetitive. But the really nice thing about a one-year program at Columbia is nothing's repetitive. It's always new. We're always changing. We're always trying to make ourselves better. So I've had, in the 7 months that I've been here, I've learned an incredible amount. And if I were to stand it up to anything else, it's definitely unparalleled.
Good, thank you, Patrick. And now I'd like to introduce Rebecca Polomita. Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. I'm the Associate Director of Career Services here for the MS-RED program. I actually have 15 years of experience in higher education. 6 of those years have been dealing with career services, specifically in real estate. I've been here at Columbia for 3 years. Prior to that, I was working for career services at the NYU Shack Institute of Real Estate, which is a big competition for us here in the city. I'm going to try to answer your questions, I guess, holistically in my presentation here. So as my role in career services, I actually meet with students on an individual basis, providing advice and guidance for each of your career trajectories in real estate. I work with you on how to articulate your passion and desires for real estate and how to portray them when networking and on paper. And I teach you how to present your package to be as representative of the skills and capabilities as possible. So doing things like cover letter and resume critiques, career counseling sessions like I just mentioned. We have a spring career fair that is just for MS Red students, so there's no other competition. We have a mentorship program where you're paired with an alumni for the entire year. And then we also have a spring internship program, which allows you to work 2 days a week, practically applying your skills that you learn in the classroom in a real-world setting, which gives you 1.5 credits as an elective. Some of the things that you'll learn throughout the year for me, or topics you will learn, are professional etiquette, effective job searching in real estate, how to leverage your LinkedIn and social media, how to build effective relationships, industry relationships, cultural fits in the real estate industry, salary negotiation, informational interviewing, proper presentation and interview skills, the real estate industry hiring process, and we also have real estate industry panels with alumni. Some of your questions obviously involve job placement, which is, very important when wanting to consider attending this program. We are not an MBA program, so I do not place students. We actually help guide you with the placement, but it is up to you to get the job yourself, as the director would say. We help prepare you, but in the end, it is your responsibility to seek an opportunity yourself. We afford you an immense amount of opportunities to apply to, interviews, networking. So I always say this program compared to the NYU GSAPP program, I feel as though you're spoiled, but in a good way, as far as the people and professionals that you will meet along the way. So regarding some placement, I've only been here for the class of 16, 17, 18, and now 19, but I started halfway through the class of 16. Just to give you an idea, job placement in the class for the class of 2016 was 65% at graduation, okay, and then 97% 6 months post-graduation. Our top locations for placement at that time were New York City, Los Angeles, London, Canada, and China. We have 3 top areas of employment for the class of 2016. 39% of those students who graduated went into development-focused roles. 24% of those students went into institutional finance and investment roles, and 20% of the students went back into family business. Even though 2016 was a year when developers in New York City and many other locations were apprehensive of their possibilities for growth and therefore were not vigorous in seeking new employees, the students were able to compete well for those roles that were available because they tested well in their financial modeling. Additionally, with stronger financial skills, more students were prepared for roles in the areas of real estate finance and investment than had been previously. So this expansion of potential placement is necessary in those times in the economic cycle when development activity is reduced. And it is useful to test the program's capability in this respect. For the class of 2017, our placement was a little bit different, as you'll see in the numbers that I'm about to tell you. Due to the presidential election and immigration status issues, the class of 2017 did have a difficult time with the abundance of jobs, still with a hold on development, but interestingly had an increase with acquisitions and asset management roles. Due to the curriculum that Dr. Darrington has grown over the past few years, students are focusing on concentrations, but they are focusing on not solidifying those concentrations, but their classes in either finance and development, which affected our placement, which 37% of those who graduated in 2017 had development roles, 47% had institutional finance and investment roles, and 20% in family business. And we also had students in New York City, China, LA, San Francisco, London, and Toronto. The class of 2018, job placement was at 65% at time of graduation and is now 9% 6 months post-graduation. Our students have been focusing in the class of 2018 to have those hybrid roles that are a cross between development and finance. That is the popularity right now for the class of 2018. Some of the students want to focus on the types of roles that students receive after the program. So students, examples of those roles in finance are acquisitions analyst, a financial analyst, acquisitions associate, associate of asset management, strategic capital analyst, private equity analyst, and those examples of development roles have included development analyst / associate, assistant project managers, project associates, assistant vice presidents, assistant construction manager, and investment and development associate. We have all the top firms that either attend our weekly lunchbox lectures, either attend classes on behalf of professors, as well as our annual conference, Real Estate Development Conference, that we have every September. So as far as our placement, as far as the companies, we have the Blackstone, we have JP Morgan, we also have the banks, we have the related companies, We have the Durst organization. You can think of Madison Realty Capital, Deutsche Bank, Deloitte, CIM Group, Brookfield Properties, Boston Properties, just to name a few. But we have top alumni in all of these industries that you guys will be able to focus on. And we also try to match your mentor with the focus of what you want to have after graduation as far as your career.
Very good. So as you can see, your focus on getting a job is definitely part of something that we consider very important within the program. It's not as though we leave it to the end. The program is just 1 year, 3 semesters, so therefore the time goes very quickly, and we need to prepare you for your job search and for taking up your role upon graduation. So that's very important. Also, you can see from what Rebecca said that the opportunities are very diverse. One very important thing one very important vision that I have for this program is that it addresses the comprehensive nature of real estate. Real estate has very different activities, as I say, ranging from development, doing design, rehabilitation, working right down in detail with the assets, with the buildings, with the properties, and so on, through to project management, finance activities, private equity, very abstracted activities with respect to securities and REIT analysis. And then, as I said, we're now adding technology, and where that is going is, a fantastic introduction to the future. So we're covering lots of potential applications of your education here, and that's an important thing that we cover right from the get-go. So a few basic questions that you may have. Of course, very straightforward ones, such as, what is it about the admissions process that you can show where you excel and strengthen your application? The process is that we accept applications between August the 15th and January of the prior year and January 15th of the year in which you will attend the program starting in the summer. The bulk of the review of your applications takes place in February, and each application is regarded and reviewed holistically. All decisions will be out by April 1st at the latest, but usually it's closer to mid-March that you'll hear from us. People ask about what are the important background aspects of a typical student for our program. Is there any background which is more important than the other? I would say that the most common backgrounds are from the area of real estate activity, brokerage, investment, development, and finance, but also the actual production of real estate, the design, the construction, the engineering, and those various aspects. But we also have students coming in with unrelated backgrounds in psychology, communications, and so on, and they do extremely well as also. Some people come from rather related fields. Engineering, we're finding, are sending quite a few people through to the real estate program now. They want to combine their technical knowledge in engineering and construction and data science with the application of real estate. So that's very exciting. In our review, of course, we look at quantitative ability. That's a key. We are about finance, but we do not require specific undergraduate coursework in this area. However, everyone should become comfortable with using Excel in a financial manner before starting the program, and we're able to help you and guide you a little bit on that before you start. A few other questions are, such as what would be an outstanding quality in an applicant? And quite frankly, I'd say this is a professional, intense program it's a graduate program. It is assuming that you've moved through undergraduate studies, you've started to take your place in the world as a professional, and now you are refining those professional skills. So while prior professional experience or work experience for the program is not an absolute requirement, it tends to be that some knowledge, some experience for a year or two in the field, in the general industry, is going to help you with the application of your skills and understanding what you're about to learn. The most successful students, I would say, are typically those who are mature with some good understanding of what they want to achieve, although we hope to certainly open your eyes to many more possibilities and options, but come in appreciating that there's a lot to learn, that you are going to be self-motivated to use the many opportunities that we provide to you and you can explore in depth, and also to be diligent in taking on the studies. There's a lot to cover. So we would also, I think, regard your qualifications and your background as demonstrating some sort of initiative and self-motivation. Real estate is an activity that is all about making things happen, whether it's financial structuring, doing a development project, having the vision, and so on. So really being able to show that you're a person who gets out and makes things happen, I think, does indicate the type of person that's probably going to be the most successful real estate person. Some people have asked if the applicant is going to be able to demonstrate their capability through the GRE or GMAT scores. As I said, we review every application in a holistic manner. The scores are an important indicator for overall intellectual ability, advancement in terms of learning, and so on. Very important is the quantitative capability, but also, because real estate is based on communication and those sort of activities, your oral and verbal, your verbal skills, writing skills, and so on are also very, very important. There is a single deadline for applications that is pretty hard and fast, and that's January the 15th. Now, regarding your application, some of the details. Letters from employers, professionals, or, whom do you think might be the best person to speak about your capability for the program? Now, of course, if you have been working, then certainly your employer has been a person who's been able to see and assess your capability, and their letter would be very important. Perhaps some support from prior teachers could be helpful, but generally, it is important that you get your letters of recommendation cover the aspects of you in a variety of ways, not just about one simple thing, and that being academic achievement, for instance. People ask about quotas. Are there certain quotas for this and that? Absolutely not. We're looking for a very diverse, interesting class. There are no prerequisites in terms of studies. There are no quotas, and so on. We tend to find that we have a rich and varied student composition, and that's, I think, important for the industry. We have also been asked about students who are employed by students who are sponsored by their employer to come to the program, and is that a benefit? It's very nice that they are doing this to you, to support you and your professional development, but it has absolutely no relation to our selection of you or how you'll perform during the program. Now, I'll just ask Patrick to give a few impressions about the application process as he saw it, and what some of his classmates may have said about that.
So in regards to the application process for myself is, in terms of the personal statement, what I really wanted to focus in on, and it was really, why do I have the real estate bug? Why is real estate interesting, and why is this program a very good fit for myself? And things that I kind of spoke about is, not only did I have the background in real estate, but it was the upbringing of what's my life? Like, what's going on in my life? How can I try and convey this to both Professor Darrington and Rebecca and Jessica on the type of person I am and what I want to bring to this program? I think the one thing that was very interesting for myself is coming down and really getting the opportunity to sit through classes in 2015 before making my final decision to apply, was really gave me the idea of what the culture is like. It's very open. Students are very respectful and really easy to get along with. I was able to connect with not only one student, but many students when I first came down that were very open on giving what they thought. And that really fed into why I wanted to come here instead of going to other schools and other real estate programs. And to Professor Darrington's other question of what other students are, how they're feeling and what's going on with them, I think one of the biggest things, biggest proponents of this program is not only the curriculum, but in talking to you and what's going on is you're not only just learning about the real estate, you're learning about the ground up of it. How do I finance it? How do I structure it? What's the existing property itself? How do I make it the most efficient possible? And I think that the real exposure to this program is how it diversifies itself by the students. Students that in the architecture program, the urban planning, it brings a whole new perspective on real estate itself and not just the financing side. The last thing I really want to talk about is jobs. I know it's a huge thing. It was something that was on my mind when I first came here is, as an international student, how do I get above and beyond? How do I make myself stand out? I think I've had an excellent opportunities by working with Rebecca throughout the course of the 7 months I've been here, not only just talking about what types of jobs are out there, but working on my cover letter, my CV, how I can make it better, what are people looking at when I'm trying to get myself out there. And the one thing that's really been a great opportunity is the exposure to the alumni itself. You have people that are the Mark Hollidays of the world. You have the Blake Hutchisons of the world that went to this program that are just really excelling in the real estate world. They're huge proponents on coming in and talking to us, giving their responses of how they feel, where things are going. And that's a huge thing for myself and also my peers. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the international travel. I think that that's something that we haven't necessarily mentioned just yet, but we've had this opportunity to, some students get to go to Israel, some students get to go to the south of France, China, Hong Kong. There's just a plethora of opportunity to not only see the real estate in the United States, but elsewhere in the world, and I think that's absolutely huge. And as a Canadian citizen, I had the opportunity to work alongside some really great minds and understand the Canadian market, but what I wanted was the exposure on how the US market worked and how global markets work. And there's a lot of great classes, not only the global investing class to work along like a great mind like Sonny Kelsey. It's really trying to diversify and really trying to understand what other people are looking for. And I think just the exposure is one of the questions, is how exposed are you by working with not only other students, but professors. I've had a great opportunity. Whenever I send an email, I get a quick response. I reached out to Rebecca last night to ask about, I have a final round interview today, and really get my last minute perspective, not only to Rebecca, but Professor Darrington. The exposure is great. The opportunities are really, 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 really high level. And to say that I came in here, I had the opportunity to sit down with Rebecca, go through what I'm interested in, what are the places, the shops that I want to target, and how do I get over the 1 yard line. And the last round interview that I have today, I think is important to note to each one of you guys, is that this was my #1 pick. I hope it does come through, but I couldn't have had this get from the beginning to now without the opportunity of working alongside Professor Darrington, Rebecca, and Jessica. So it's been great. And in terms of the class itself, I mean, again, going back to, we're students for a second and alumni for life. It's what's better than saying that you're from an Ivy League caliber school with that focuses on real estate and you have the bug. It's nothing better. The students it's amazing that we've only been here for 7 months. It's been exceptional to have friends that are, some of my best friends are from China, Shanghai, from Mexico, LA, and there's just not exposure I would have had the opportunity to while working in Canada. So it's to me, it's been phenomenal. It's been a very great opportunity to not only lead this program and get to know everyone, but it's been fantastic amongst the students. So it's been great, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick. And following along with Patrick's theme about how it feels to be a member of the class, we, just to speak about sort of the size and the composition, we typically have somewhere between 80 and 130 students each year in terms of the whole student body. We do some core courses together, so we have some opportunities to gather as a full cohort, but also then we break up into smaller classes for different aspects and deep dives into certain topics that you might select. And those classes can get down to the size of 20 to 30 people and so on. So what you're doing is having a very extensive group of people throughout the program to get to know and to understand. And truly, these people come from our student body, I am so proud to say, come from all parts of the world, from Finland right through to South America, to Asia, India, Australia, and all parts of the US. We really love to have such a diverse composition of students. You do get to spend quite a good time together in class, so you get to understand each other's proficiencies and capabilities, but also even, perhaps just as importantly, you do tend to have activities that you perform socially, through sports, through meetings with other students and other programs, attending conferences and so on. And this year, we're very lucky to have such a competent class president as Patrick, competent and very exciting in the things he's come up with. So we really see it as an intensive activity for you in terms of knowing your students, your classmates in the classroom, but also mixing socially and understanding each other in that way. Regarding some of the classes and how the methodology perhaps of the classroom experience is, real estate, as I said, is just so complex, a broad field, so there are many things to pull together. Some of them are going to be very definitely and distinctly technical skills that you have to develop. So we spend a lot of the first semester really getting those things, getting accomplished in those things, and making sure that we feel capable of using those tools going forward. Then there are some more maybe abstract and more nebulous things to understand and really dive into, such as how important design is, how you respond to design challenges while maintaining financial feasibility and so on. These kind of tussles that occur in real estate because it's such a complex activity. So the second semester does tend to broaden you to be learning about these things, understanding these more complex decision situations and components of the real estate industry. Then, of course, you've got to start pulling all of these together because you're going to be a professional that intuitively and by your innate capability are able to pull together your technical skills, use them to resolve some of the more complex decisions, and actually, be effective in creating real estate, in financing it, in managing it, in buying and selling it, and doing whatever you want to do with it. So the final semester is one in which we have all sorts of modes of pulling those things together. We use case studies, we have projects, we have team projects, we have individual projects. Some of those projects are global. You have a trip to some distant destination where you'll be looking at a specific project. So, a variety of those sort of experiences. So I like to think that the teaching is not of one pure pedagogical methodology, but is in fact appropriate to the diverse nature of real estate skills and activities and competencies that you will need to be a professional. We also have some people come in understanding that they have a focus, they're particularly interested in the hospitality sector, they're particularly interested in affordable housing, they may even be interested in real estate finance and some of the more sophisticated or structured forms of finance. We have courses that are real deep dives in all of these areas. We do understand that we try to cover all of the students' interests, and in some way or another we work with you to cover these areas of your interest. One thing that we're also introducing, as I say, is the use, the understanding and use, and potential creativity of applications using technology for real estate. This is becoming part of your core understanding, what's out there, what's happening, what's the potential, and you get to utilize utilize technology in all sorts of ways, ranging from being in the makerspace with 3D printing, through to using big data science to determine real estate trends and answers and that sort of thing. So that's really quite the composition in terms of a variety of methods. We have, of course, professors that come from actual practice. Here in New York, we're very, very lucky to be right at the coalface of a lot of advances in the real estate industry, whether it's how construction is performed, to how the financing is done, to some of the best architectural designers in the world. And these are the people that we're able to bring in to teach you. So you will have a lot of professors that are right there in industry, working at the same time as they're teaching you about how things are advancing. These professors, as I say, are available to you both for coursework and also to meet with and get to know and provide advice. The office hours and your interaction with them will vary according to the professor, the nature of the topic, the class, and so on. Some people are very particularly interested in combining prior design expertise, such as architecture, urban planning, even landscape architecture, and so on, with this financial skill in order to either go back and work in that field as an architect, understanding their developer clients better, or to go out and be developers themselves. And our program is particularly attuned to that. We understand that we have quite a good population of folks coming from a prior background in those industries. They take to the new technical skills that they have to get across quite well, and we make sure that it becomes a process whereby their advancement in that area is facilitated so that it's a competency alongside their design skills. It's not that you end up not being as competent as others. So that's probably a little bit about the nature of the program in terms of the courses. Another thing I'd like to say is that we really believe that real estate is a very networked activity. It's probably one of the professions for which the network is a key component of success. This is an activity in which you undertake through relationships with other people, not just by yourself. So therefore, we try to encourage that networking, both within the class, within your cohort of classmates, but also well beyond. The good thing about our program being of the size it is, that every year we have somewhere around 120 odd students, is that's got a nice critical mass. That is a group of folks that will really make a difference going out into the world. So your own year is quite a substantial impact on the industry. Additionally, of course, you can connect to over the 2,500 alumni that we already have in the program, and we're really working on integrating those alumni into your experience, or your connections with those alumni into your experience, both when you're in the class, when you're studying in the program, and beyond. We find that alumni, even very senior alumni, are thrilled to come and talk to you about their journey from the classroom through to what they've achieved. And this can be very inspiring and helpful to you. So the alumni connection, the alumni activities, the interaction with alumni is something that you'll commence during the program and then continue with as you go off yourselves and proceed to work. So that's, I think, a very important thing to take into account. A smaller program that you could choose may not have that spread of network. A larger program may suffer from it not having a strong enough cohesion during your time in the class. We feel we're right in the sweet spot of that, so I hope you find that something that you'll enjoy. Now, I'll just ask Patrick to speak a little about a couple of the sort of, let's say, out-of-classroom activities that he's been able to provide for students this year.
Okay. So I think this actually goes towards one of the extracurricular activities that this program really focuses in on, is we have the opportunity not only to work collaboratively within the students, but we're also looking at, we have students that are focusing on group heads for private equity, affordable housing. There's a bunch of different, depending on what your interests lie, there's a bunch of different opportunities that kind of align with that. I would say how connected this, and this goes back to Professor Darrington's point, is how connected this program is the one main thing that what we're really looking at is getting us all together on a weekly basis, trying to get out, trying to network, trying to get to know each other as best we can. The thing that it's a one-year program, and I think that one thing that I've taken from this is that was just a quote from my mentor is a business strategy is very simple. It's what am I good at? How do I get in the way of it? Try and give it limited resources. And this goes back to your point quickly on trying to get to know everyone, trying to network, and those are the resources that you'll be using and facilitating throughout the rest of your life, is calling these people that are in different markets, understanding those and having those resources, trying to help out and trying to build a foundation and what you're looking at depending on the real estate. And again, working on with not only just extracurricular stuff, but doing sports as well. There's a bunch of other different initiatives. There's just so many of them that there's just clubs and groups, etc. So there really is just so many to really go over that I can't really discuss all of them all at once. But definitely a great experience so far, and been very happy with it.
Good. We find that we like to provide you with a milieu, a forum in which you can explore your particular interests. So we have a lot of opportunities for students to form their own clubs or to take on the mantle of a club that's been up and running in the prior year. So all sorts of variations, ranging from technology to private equity to development and so on, and some pretty excellent sports teams. We're doing pretty well in the intramurals with our basketball team at the moment. So very excited about that. Now, regarding our connection with our alumni, of course, we have the Associate Director of Academic Affairs, Jessica Stockton-King, has been with the program for over 15 years. She knows all of those people. I cannot believe how she remembers everyone, and they remember her. And there's always a great rapport and an incredible ability for her to bring in our alumni and have them be part of our program. And additionally, Rebecca is now reaching out. She's established a connection with our alumni through the mentoring program. I'll have her speak a little about that. And also, one thing we're doing where we enable our current students to mix with our alumni plus other industry people is through our annual conference. We now have an annual conference that is held, it's been held at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and we typically fill up spaces of about 500 with major industry leaders coming and speaking about their experience in real estate or what they see as happening in the field. So I'll just ask Rebecca to speak a little bit about first the mentoring and her networking with alumni, and then the conference, please.
Sure. The thing that I do like in comparing programs is the fact that Columbia's program does have a mentorship program. In the beginning, in your first semester, I really meet with each student individually, getting to know them, wondering why they came to the program, what they hope to do after real estate, so I can try to pair them with an alumni mentor that either has the same, like I mentioned before, career trajectory, the culture fits in the industry, what types of firms or asset class that you're looking forward to working with, how close you actually want to work into to the asset. So I try to get to know the students on an individual basis, which I will say, this is a very individualized program. And the fact that we try to get to know each and every one of you on an individual basis, I think is very special. And it really brings the program into even more of a cohesiveness way. Patrice, myself, and Jessica always make ourselves available. And I think in doing so, it creates better relationships with our alumni, knowing how accessible we are. So Jessica, yes, has definitely been in this program for 15 years, and she knows everybody, and I can't believe how much she remembers. I've only been here for a few years. I'm remembering a lot. We're making those connections together. And then Professor Darrington, previously working at NYU as myself, we kind of use those NYU connections as well. So we really like the collaboration between the programs. The student mentorship program lasts through the entire year, so you get paired in the summertime. We have a mentorship cocktail reception, which we've been, very grateful to have on the rooftop of the Citizen M Hotel the last 2 times. That was given to us by an alumni. So you get to meet your mentor in person over a few drinks, and then you establish that relationship through a mentorship contract to say, basically this is what we're going to be talking about and meeting with each other about throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, we thank the mentors by doing another cocktail reception. So the mentorship program is something that, like I said, sets us apart, but it also helps continually facilitate the relationships with our alumni, which also leads to jobs, internships, and other opportunities. So very thankful for that. The other thing I'm very thankful for is this will be our 3rd year, the class of 2020, if you're going to apply for it, which we hope you do. Will be the 3rd annual Real Estate Development Conference. The first year was held at the Mandarin, as well as the 2nd year. We may be looking for another venue, but this upcoming year is going to be focused on private equity. This past conference was vitalizing the urban environment and how hospitality plays a role in every different amenity that we can have. And then the one before that was focused on a myriad of different things. We had panels all throughout the day that were focusing on private equity, that were focusing on residential or construction, design, architecture. We try to incorporate the different programs in GSAPP with our conference, even though we know that it is an MS-RED conference. We really, the built environment crosses so many different paths. So we just want, and it brings the city together. We also have a global presence with our Real Estate Development Conference. So it is, here in New York City, but we have people fly from all over the world that attend. So the advantage for, as a student is the fact that you get that networking opportunity with hundreds of people all for one day just for you, which I think is pretty cool.
And then, of course, the other thing that, back to heads down and studies now, we do like to feel as though we can compete with most other programs in developing real estate professionals. We know that MBA programs often offer a real estate concentration that that is just a few courses, but often very financially focused. We have really added significantly to our finance course options, and now I believe firmly that our students come through much more rigorously advanced in finance and investment than they could get anywhere else in the world. And also, at the same time, being aware of some of the other aspects of real estate, such as design, such as urban issues, and so on, that they may not even encounter in another environment. So that, I think, is an important sort of both richness but rigor that is core to our program. I think Patrick himself had come from a real estate background, but he has now had some design classes, and I know, because I've taught him, that we've advanced his financial knowledge quite. So perhaps he'd like to say a little bit about how that works for a current student.
Yeah, so I think that for current students, I think the really great thing, and going back to the jobs part about it, is this is going to prepare you for when you're actually ready to apply. Depending on where you're looking, if you are looking at finance, the nice thing about the program is it will build you up, you'll be prepared, you'll be able to run the analysis and look at something and say to yourself, does this make sense? Can I do some back of the napkin numbers? Does this really make sense? Is this feasible? And also the nice thing, the really interesting part about it is, going back to Professor Darrington's pieces, I came from that finance side. I've learned so much more in this program. I thought I knew a lot more than I came into, and I think that the nice thing that really what this program does, if you think about more of like a puzzle, there are a few things that are missing that when you first come into the program, and really what this is filling in. This is now making 1 + 1 = 2, and I think that it's been really, really humbling towards that. The other thing is that the design side of it, I could tell you how to make a nice square box and how to make it efficient, but I couldn't tell you what makes it, what's the design portion of it. How do you make it attractive to marketing? And this is what a lot of the program is working at. It's not just are the numbers make sense, but also, is it going to be marketable? Is it going to be something that's interesting? Is it something that's going to be everlasting for the market itself? So I would say that there's a wide array of different class types. But in preparation for your 1 year, it's very, very intensive. I would say you get a lot out of it. You get what you put into it. There are a lot of students, even last night, that were staying here late for a lot of finals that are coming up. But it's a lot of not only just working by yourself, but working collaboratively and working with other students, which to me is the most important thing and why I'm coming here, is not only just to learn more, but to also think of a different way, broaden my horizons, and understand how other people in different markets think. So I think that it's been very, very interesting. Not only do you get just one side of it, which other schools just focus on, they will put more of an emphasis on maybe the finance side, maybe a little bit more emphasis on the design side. This really will take and kind of morph it into a little bit of both, but by the end of it, you can really focus in on picking your classes to what's really important to you, and I think that's very important to myself for sure.
Good, thank you. And, you know, we just are adamant that everyone has core competencies and goes forth as a wonderfully excelling group of real estate professionals. So ending on Patrick's enthusiastic words, and I'm proud to see that he's thoroughly enjoying his program right here in the middle of the finals for this semester, still smiling and enjoying himself and appreciating this. So thank you very much. That's it.